So, you know what, and thanks for that one. I definitely want to say that as we speak about police brutality, one thing we really need to understand in light of Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, when we think about these young men, these are issues that have been going on for some time. And I look at these young men as martyrs. Like, we can look at their lives and celebrate them, because what they've basically done is enable us to actually pay attention to the real issues at hand, and people across the world are actually paying attention now, to the point where we're even having a conversation about this right now. America's having a conversation about us sitting in this room right now. Truth of the matter is, I have 7 brothers. 3 of them are dead, 3 of them been to prison, 1 of them got life in prison right now. Crazy thing is, I remember in '97, my brother got shot about 9 times by the police. Crazy thing is, I understand I was in high school just like y'all. So when I saw that and I understood what was going on, in my mind, what happens when you see Trayvon Martin, your family get shot, police brutality, all these different things of that nature, it should propel you to wear a suit and tie. It should propel you to want more beyond whatever is going on at the moment, and look at police brutality and see how we can rise above any of those things by understanding those issues, and then understand at the same time, not every police officer is a brutal guy or a brutal woman. It's a lot of police officers that protect and serve us so that we can come to school every day. You can ride the bus, get here, however you got to get here, and take care of us. But what this has enabled us to do is really highlight the issues. So pay attention, and make sure when you pay attention, pull the real pieces out of what you need to do with your life.
This is a very complicated issue, and I don't disagree with everything that I've heard. I just want to give a different side, because I think there are 2 sides of this coin. Individual responsibility, being responsible, being honest with ourselves, yes, 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 yes. Acting appropriately when the cops pull you over, yes. Suit and tie, okay. Dress, yes. Being nice, yes, sir, here's my license, sir, yes. Yes to all that, all right? Y'all not gonna get Reverend Bullock in trouble. Reverend Bullock said, don't be nice. Be nice. This ain't about being nice, though. You can have good manners and have bad rules. I got good manners, but I live under bad rules. I got good manners, but it's slavery. But I got good manners, but I'm still a slave. Good manners and all. I got good manners, but it's a glass ceiling, and I got the wrong color for the job at the top. But I got great manners. Black folks got to stop thinking good manners is going to get you good results. It's not the whole equation. Good manners plus something else, ladies and gentlemen. Good rules. Now, police brutality is not about whether or not black boys and girls got good manners. It's about whether or not the cops got good manners, right? And you can't switch the conversation. This is not a conversation about whether or not Trayvon Martin was right that night. This is a conversation about whether or not Zimmerman's stupid butt should have stood down. Stand down. He did not do it. It's not about Trayvon. Don't do the conservative Republican move, the white supremacist, I hate myself move, and make this about Trayvon. This ain't about Mike Brown. Was his hands up? Was his hands down? Did he get a cigarillo out the store or not? This is about Darren Wilson saying he looked like a demon, and I was God's angel of justice. So I popped him 12 times. Okay? A demon? A teenager, when did the teenagers become demons? So let me just say this, because I know this is a complicated issue. Let me say this. Let me say this. This is about accountability for police officers, and they are not above the law. When Mackenzie Cochran got choked to death at Northland, he wasn't doing nothing. That's what this is about. And I close with this. I wear suits and ties. My brothers ain't been to prison, except for a little, running a red light or something, right? I ain't never sold dope, right? I grew up in Detroit, all that. Graduated from high school, 16, Morehouse, 19, taught my first college class when I was 19, all that. But when I was riding from Detroit to Atlanta, I got pulled over in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I told the cop, here's my license, here's my registration. Where you going? I'm going to Atlanta. Why are you going? Going back to class after spring break. Why you got money in your car? Because I got student tuition. I got room and board, got food, got
You got Georgia Power bill. Why you got a computer in the back? Because I got to type, sir. Is that all right, sir? I type papers on my computer. Why don't you step out the car? You little smart. Well, excuse me, sir. I thought I was supposed to be smart. I mean, you called me, that's okay. But I thought I was supposed to get education, sir. Why don't you step out the car? You know what happened to me? Jail in Knoxville, Tennessee. It just so happened, Trick. I had preached a revival 2 weeks earlier in Knoxville, Tennessee, and my first call was to the pastor in the town, and he came down, talked to the white police chief, and vouched for me. He said, that little ain't a, and they let me go. So all I'm simply saying is that police brutality ain't about having a tie on and good manners, because you can have a tie on and have good manners and end up underneath the jail, and all you is black and wrong. And that's what we got to deal with.
It's not always about the shirt and tie. I've lived that life. I'm almost 50. And understand, we have an image to portray, and we have to have knowledge and education behind us, but it's a perception that America has about African Americans. And we have to fight that stereotype, and education is the new civil rights. Understand it.
So I want to take it back to what the gentleman said. No, let me go here first. I want you to live. That's what I just said to Reverend Bullock, okay? I want you to live. You got to make a decision. Listen, I can't control a racist, white, black, Hispanic, or whatever cop. But what I am in control of is me and what I do. And so it's like, absolutely, indeed, there are so many things that I want to say. We absolutely have to fight police brutality and systemic racism. We're doing that too. That's what we do every day. That's the work we do. That's the calling on our community. That has not changed. But it's your responsibility to be if you're, God forbid, ever in that circumstance, to protect your life and the calling that is on your life. Because look, God got something great for you. There are people who you are supposed to change and you're supposed to touch. So you do what is required of you at that time to get out of that circumstance, and then we'll fight, like we've been doing, the systemic racism. We'll fight that police officer, but it doesn't make sense for you to die in that circumstance. And I also want to make a point, and I'm really getting ready to be bad guy here. There's a difference, respectfully to everybody, between Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown. The circumstances are different. Trayvon Martin, respectfully, and I know I can feel the arrows, okay? Trayvon Martin was walking down the street and was accosted by a civilian, okay? This man had no policing authority. We live in a society of laws. So when a police officer asks you to yield, even with on the back end of that comment, for your life, you need to yield. And we'll address him too. But that is not necessarily your responsibility at that time. Your responsibility is to live.
She just said it, though. Y'all have to understand, like, okay, I give you even a better example. It's several grown men in here, including my big brother, my OG right here, Trick. We are, all these men in here, we all have children. Some of us have wives, some of us have girlfriends. We got mothers, sisters, everything, everybody in here. This is why I said what I said. I don't want any problems out of none of y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I want y'all to live like she said. But let's talk about what's real. It doesn't matter whether I'm a police or not. It's people that are around me who carry to secure me and make sure I make it home to my family. So let's leave the police out of it. Let's talk about us with each other and how we is. Some of these guys in here, they got families to protect and make it home to. So when they see these young people out there looking like demons because they off that Molly and acting all crazy, If you not checking yourself, these men have a right to carry. Black men, they have a right to carry. So what I was saying to you is, it's not just about the police. You got to worry about everybody. So you got to keep yourself in check, because if you get out of line and you threaten me, or I feel that my life is in danger, one of these men are going to put you down, and we're going to wait on the police to come get you. That's real. So these are the things, like, we have these conversations, and sometimes we leave the real aspect out of it. This man, they all got families. They may not want no problems, but as black youth, they attack sometimes. So he has to protect himself. So check yourself and watch how you carry yourself in the decisions that you make. Be smart. You gotta have to live for you.
Yeah, I just want to say this real quick. I went to Ferguson 3 times. I met Mike Brown's father, talked to him for 2 days, okay? Went to the church Mike Brown went to. I was actually in Ferguson immediately after he was killed. Thousands of people in the street. And so we do have to get real. There's another layer of get real here. White mayor. Ferguson is 82, 85% black. White mayor. I asked the mayor, how many people voted for you to become mayor? He said 2,000 people. So the reality is, white mayor, 54 cops, white out of 57, okay? The legal system, mostly white. So if you talk about Ferguson as a majority black suburb with no representation, okay? What you're talking about is black people who have checked out of the process that decides the rules they live under. That's right. So whenever you let somebody else decide the rules for you, the rules probably not going to be in your benefit. So I think the other get real part of this, the other personal responsibility part of this, is that people marched in Ferguson and they demonstrated and they looted. They didn't register anybody to vote, right? They not prepared to take the mayor's seat. They're not prepared to control who becomes police officers in Ferguson. They're not prepared to get a new county prosecutor. And when you start talking like this, people get sleepy. And why are you talking about stuff like that? Well, if you don't control the prosecutor, baby, you're going to jail. Right? If you don't control the mayor, you ain't getting nothing. And if you don't control who gets on the police force, they're not going to worry about policing in your benefit. So Ferguson is a win and a loss for us at the same time, because the conditions of Ferguson have not changed. The only thing that changed is Mike Brown died and we looted some stores. So we got to get engaged in our politics so that we can change the rules we live under.
DJ B-Day, did you?
To pick up on that, I'll say that I believe that what we really need to do is understand that anything that's ever happened in life where there's any type of great change or any type of great individuals, it always is a spirit of excellence. So excellence eradicates all isms. Excellence eradicates all isms. A lot of times, piggybacking on what was just said, we can just say, we can complain about all these things, but when we start to actually begin to be the solution to those things, that's how we can be the answers for ourselves. We can't control all these outside factors, but we can control the individual that we are. So whatever your greatness is, we need to exude that. We need to be as excellent as we can possibly be as individuals, as a collective, and then people will change their mindsets of what black people actually are. And people can say, oh, that's philosophical, but we can look at the civil rights movement and see exactly what that is. People getting together under the spirit of excellence and then changing a paradigm of negativity about a certain type of people, and that's exactly what we have to do.
I'm gonna go off saying that our perception is bad already before anything. As a black male, they already think we're gonna be dead or in jail. So it's even funny to me when I won't even do high school parties no more, because I gotta charge top dollar, because I gotta bring security with me. I gotta bring extra security with me, because when I do a high school party, I already know it's going down. You already got to have extra equipment, a speaker getting knocked over. So this is the perception. I'm saying this because I'm a black male, but this is my perception on before I even get my mom and dad over there too. My dad like, no more high school parties for you, because he already knows. So I can just imagine the perception they have on us if the perception I have on us. You know what I'm saying? So.
Thank you. I just wanted to add too, like everyone has said, it definitely does start with us. But even in our way of protesting, you protesting by shooting another police officer, that doesn't say anything but to treat us again more like animals. It doesn't say anything. If you think about the mother who protested against drug drivers, she made something happen because she went to the court. She went to the judicial system. And I think that we as African Americans, we need to do something more than showing that we know how to fight. We need to show that we're an educated beings and not just, I was watching the other day on World Star Hip Hop, and like Ms. Chanel said, if a police officer says yield, then stand down, be cool, be easy. You recording everything else to post it on social media, maybe set your phone voice recorder on. I know we ain't supposed to do this, but maybe set your voice recorder on, put it in your cup holder while you're pulled over if you don't feel safe. There's ways to do this. I know I probably ain't supposed to say that, but again, your goal and your objective is to come out living. And then speaking of the girl on World Stop Hip Hop, did y'all see the girl that was just beating the other girl and she kept saying sorry? And it's like if somebody says sorry, if somebody says stand down, or if somebody says I was wrong, why you still gotta go knock them upside the head? So I think at some point, we as African Americans, we have to show that we are educated, we're in the knowing, and we're not just about a fight. Y'all understand what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, let me just prove something to somebody. No, if the Bible says abide by the law, and if the law is in place for there to be order, then my father always says it, just do what's right. It's as simple as that. So I just wanted to say that I think that that's a way we can respond to police brutality, by having a voice, by protesting, by going to the judicial system, but not standing and shooting the officer all over again. That does nothing but give them the mindset to protect themselves against us again. So that's it.
So y'all just gotta bear with me for a minute, because I'm gonna talk a little slow, because I gotta watch myself, because them cameras on. And how I really, really feel, I'm just not even gonna say it. I am gonna say, God made all of us for a reason. You're breathing and living right now for a reason. And that reason is not for you to do whatever. Even though you can have dreams and aspirations and go forward and be successful and be great, that is a gift to you from God. Your purpose here is to help one another. Our job on this earth is to be here for each other. It's not for ourselves. You can have the desires of your heart. You just have to follow the law of God, and that's like respect, your mother and your father, and just don't treat people like crap, Treat people how you want to be treated, and be a beacon of light instead of a hole of darkness, you know what I mean? And that's individual. And that go for police as individuals, because at the end of that clock, they got to take that badge and that gun off. And like what I really want to say, I ain't even going to say it, but you know what I mean, don't you?
I know it's about police brutality, but I want to know, why do black people care more and take more action if a white man kill a black man than if a black man kill a black man? Because last year, right by my house next door to me, my mom's best friend got shot and killed. So he was only on the news for one day. And recently, this year, another guy got killed on my block. Nothing happened. I didn't see nothing about it. I want to know why do we care more if another race kill us than if we kill each other?
Wow, these questions are great. It's really making us reflect, right, on us and our circumstance. I guess I'm watching my words now, too. I know, exactly. Let me just say this. The way to make sure that all of those actions, right, all of those negative actions from, murders done to us, perpetuated, on us, by us, or rogue police officers, or whatever the case may be, the way to make sure that those issues are addressed adequately, fairly, and in proportion, right, is through the ballot box. It's through voting. The prosecutor, like they said earlier, the prosecutor is an elected office. The mayor appoints the police chief. The police chief sets the tone, the demeanor of the police officers and allows, through his actions and his tone, particular behaviors from his officers. So if you don't vote, if your parents don't vote, then they're basically yielding to somebody else to have the kind of police officers and the kind of leadership in our community that they want. And those other folks might not feel the way that you and I feel. Do you see what I'm saying? So in a representative democracy, I mean, this is the United States of America. On the books, everything is not right. But according to our Constitution and our governing documents, you have a say. If you don't act on that, then you're ultimately yielding to somebody else to make a decision for your life. So if we want the best actions from our officers and from our leadership, it starts with that individual decision to vote and to be a part of the change.
So one of the things that's important, and that's a very key question, but what's important within our communities, we have a lot of self-hate, unfortunately, that we don't understand the importance of truly Black Lives Matter, even as it relates to all of the things that happen all the time. So one, we don't always take accountability for what our own issues and concerns are. We'll pass them off to everyone else versus for what's what. You know, I always challenge people all the time, my friends. You know, I think you all should challenge your people. What are your people doing, your friends, your inner circle? This is a question I always ask. If you look at your most immediate 5 people, in that circle, what are they doing that it's tangible for the community? If you can't tell me that all 5 of your closest friends is doing something, that is a problem. And the unfortunate part is a lot of us are not doing anything. We're not mentoring. You all can be mentors. You all can tutor people young people that are 9, 10 years old. You all represent what that is. So we all of us up here should be mentoring. All of us up here should be doing something to do for somebody else. All of us have a collective response. It is our obligation to our ancestors to do what we don't always do because we don't always have a great sense of self. Because that's a whole nother thing. Don't even get me started on light skin, dark skin, all those other things that we talk about within our community that has basically made it so divisive in that sense of self-hate. So the challenge is, yes, should we be angry? We should be angry, but we should be doing something counter to what that is in order to be productive within our community, to have a greater sense of self. Because once we have a greater sense of self, then more people will feel accountable to do other things.
I just want to say to you, part of what loving Black people for me means is I'm developing an antidote for white supremacy because it runs through our veins. Beautiful question, so many assumptions. The assumption is that because you don't see something on the news, that there are not a whole lot of people mad about it. This is the real truth. When a white cop or a white man kills a Black man or woman, the reason why it gets pumped up is because there's a media agenda to get behind that and perpetuate a particular kind of reality. The media doesn't cover when Blacks kill Blacks. It's in the news cycle one day because the producer only put it in the news cycle for one day. We don't control the media. We don't control the news cycle, okay? And so it's not that people don't care. My church is right in the hood, right in Highland Park in Detroit, and I'm telling you, when brothers and sisters get killed or something happens to them and another brother or sister is involved, those families don't hurt any less, right? The friends don't hurt any less. The funerals are packed. I'm talking about 2,000, 3,000 people with T-shirts on. There's so many teddy bears, you think they like broke into a Toys R Us or something and stole all the teddy bears, candles, right? That vigil stays there for days, but there's no Channel 2, there's no Channel 4, there's no CNN, right? There's no Fox, right? There's no Sharpton, there's no Jesse, right? And so nobody knows about it But just because it's not being broadcast on the media, it doesn't mean that there isn't that same care and concern. So I would just suggest to you, be careful about using the television and the media as a test for how much the community cares. We care, we just don't control the television.
Well, my name is Martell Blunt, and I'm representing the Young Men of Excellence, and I'm in the 12th grade. And this was just basically a comment to what Deontay Bell said, and he was saying that why do we care so much about when one race is killed by another race? I just believe that it's a systematic hate that's going on between not just blacks and whites, it's just between all races, because we have to be aware of what's been going on. Ever since our ancestors were captured from Africa, they used our ancestors to capture each other just because everybody wasn't getting the finer things back at the slave house, and everybody wasn't treated equally. So they used our ancestors to capture one another so someone could get something just as simple as food or more clothing. And we're not aware of that right now. And what we have to see is that we can't just sit back and be the victim and just say that the white man, the Mexican, or anybody is just taunting us or torturing us, because the thing is, we're torturing ourselves because we're not opening our eyes to what's going on. And what's going on is that we growing up, just like Trick said about probably 45 minutes ago, it starts at home. And what we're not seeing is that the systematic hate is going on, like just when the average black man thinks that he can bring a white woman in the home, and the black women are just like, no, what? And that's the same thing that's the same thing that's going on in the white American home. We are just systematically hating each other, and it's not right. And then when the systematic hate is going on, you just can't blame and point the fingers at people, because this is how they were brought up. You just gotta help them. You just gotta help people recognize what's going on.
Wrap it up. We had